Hello. Hi everyone. Welcome to Guiding Voice podcast series. The Guiding Voice for a better future. This podcast is to help students and young professionals to shape their careers. Thank you for tuning in. This is Naveen and I'm with my co-host Sudhakar. Dear listeners, we are pleased to welcome back Rohit to our show again. And this time we would like to discuss the most relevant and most important topic, computer vision. And this is another important topic which goes hand in hand with artificial intelligence, neural networks, and other important topics that we have already covered.
Rohit Gupta is a technical trainer who holds his master's degree in informatics and bachelor's degree in electronic science from the University of Delhi. Rohit is also C# Corner MVP, that is most valuable professional. In addition to that, Rohit is an author and a speaker.
Rohit is deeply interested in the field of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and Python.
His aim is to make world's first human-like humanoid. Rohit believes in the statement, bonding between machines and humans will make this world into a whole new better place. And we are pleased to welcome Rohit to our show today.
Thank you, Naveen and Sudhakar, for having me again on the podcast. You guys are doing a fantastic job. I have been listening to your podcast, and the topics are excellent and adding a great value to the community of students and young professionals. Wish you a great success on your journey. And I'm very happy and glad to be a part of it.
So, Rohit, what is computer vision? As in, how is it possible for a computer to see?
Computer vision is related to the AI field where we are making the machine learn to see and detect objects. Now, some may think what is the need and where can we use, since we humans are trying to make a machine identical to humans. So now to answer this, let me ask you a question. Why we humans are given eyes? If by touching and feeling that object, we can detect the object and make our decisions. So there may be people with all sorts of answers. Let me tell my answer. According to me, we have eyes to give a degree of differentiation so that we can differentiate between a square of 10 centimeter and a square of 11 centimeter without exactly measuring it. Same is the case with the machines. Now, to make you understand how a machine is able to see, let us compare humans with machines. We humans get the image formed on our retina, which is then transmitted to the brain using neurons in form of electrical signals, and the brain tries to form a logic so that it can understand what electrical signals mean. In case of machine, a camera works like an eye which takes the image, converted into the required pixel form and sent to the neural network system, which then tells the type and behavior of the image. This behavior may be color, size, depth, inference about what image depicts, etc.
So, Rohit, there is this another term, image processing, which is existing for long. In fact, I think one of the projects that I have done in my academic period was about image processing. So how is that different from this current computer vision that you are talking about?
Image processing and computer vision are two terms that are used interchangeably, but they are different, as image processor will only process an image. That is, suppose an image of a cat is given, then image processing may include reducing or increasing the pixels, making image grayscale, and so on. Whereas a computer vision system would take in an image, process it, segment it, perform the required task, and give the result as per the desired specification. For example, a computer vision system which is intended to alarm if a cat is detected. So the system will manipulate the size, convert it to grayscale, as it takes less computational power to process grayscale as compared to RGB. Then segment the image to detect the cat. If the system detects a cat, it sends a trigger an alarm is set on.
Great point, actually, Rohit. In fact, I don't know how you picked this example of cat, because that was the image that we worked on as part of our project of image processing.
Interesting. Probably that is like hello world when we write our programs. Maybe the cat image might be hello world kind of. So Rohit, what is pre-processing and post-processing with regard to computer vision?
Processing means to manipulate the given image. According to us, you can think this to be similar to the normalization of data that I talked about in the neural network podcast. If you have not listened to that, please listen. Will help you in understanding what is a neural network. Now, pre-processing means to change the features or attributes of an image in order to match them to the input features requirement of our model. Whereas post-processing, as the name suggests, is done once the model has performed its task. Pre-processing is always done on the input image and post-processing is done on output image. The time spent on post-processing may be less than or equal to the time spent on pre-processing. Let's understand that using an example. Reducing the number of pixels of a 4K image to 2 to 4 by 2 to 4 in order to make it pass through ResNet is pre-processing, and the process to convert that 2 to 4 cross 2 to 4 image back to 4K image so that the user does not experience any change in quality is post-processing.
Hey, I have an interesting question, but it may sound a little dumb. But still, in the interest of everyone, I would like to put this question, Rohit. Why is it necessary for a machine to see and detect the images correctly?
Oh, वैसे no question is dumb. That is the point that I Let me answer a question using another question. What will happen if you command your domestic housekeeping robot to bring an apple and he misclassifies an orange as apple and give it to you? Will you keep that robot?
Not really.
Yeah, we don't want dumb robots.
Good one. This is a very small example that I have given. Let's consider the case of robots that security forces use to defuse bombs. What will happen if it detects black wire as red and cuts it, thinking that it will defuse the bomb? So won't that cause huge damage?
Absolutely.
Let me take an example of face locks that people add to their phone as password. What will happen if it misclassified you? Would you be able to unlock your phone? I think Naveen could relate to that because he has an iPhone and he can imagine what will happen if his phone does not detect him.
Oh, that would be really interesting because we will not get calls from Naveen for some time. No more chasing, absolutely. So, Rohit, now that we talked about the various aspects of this computer vision, how does this machine learning goes hand in hand with the computer vision that we are talking about?
We use machine learning algorithms to train a computer vision model to be able to see and detect the right features. Some of the most common machine learning algorithms used are neural network, K-means, SVM, that is support vector machine, and there are many more. To name some of the pre-trained computer vision models, I would say SSD, Faster RCNN, Inception, MobileNet. These all are very simple models to implement and I can say understand also.
So Rohit, with the excitement and the interesting topics we are talking about, I'm sure our audience would want to start knowing and learning little more about computer vision. So what will be your recommendation on how to start learning about this?
I can say the most important question one should have listening to the podcast. In order to learn anything and everything in the field of AI, one needs to be good with mathematics and stats. That I think I'm saying it again. These things will help you understand the logic behind the most commonly used processes like segmentation and pixel scaling. To learn computer vision, one can start with OpenCV official documentation. Then you can go to implement some basic project like the MNIST dataset, initially using custom created neural networks and then using some advanced pre-trained models like SSD, MobileNet, etc. OpenCV, Udacity, Udemy, and Coursera provide their own courses, so you can go and learn. If you want to go for free resources, you can go for resources provided by the School of AI. The link is in the description. You can go and find it. Another excellent free resource is provided by pyimagesearch.com. This is my personal recommendation, even over the paid courses as well. Those who want to go for YouTube resources, you can go for Stanford and Udacity computer vision playlist. On Instagram, I follow ML.India, RoboFight, and NeuralNetwork.net. So you may also go for these. One important thing to learn computer vision is to read research papers. I know that may sound hard, but instead of reading the whole, I would say just read the abstract. That would be the gist of the whole paper.
Rohit, I think these are all excellent resources. Thanks again for sharing all the learnings with our listeners. Can we also talk a little bit about most commonly used computer vision libraries?
Yeah, sure. The number one would be OpenCV, that is open source computer vision. Then goes TensorFlow, provided by Google. Then is PyTorch, that is provided by Facebook. Then MATLAB. Then is CUDA. CUDA is you will find everywhere. These are mostly used in GPU. That is Computer Unified Device Architecture. Pillow, SimpleCV, YOLO. YOLO means you look only one. Next is Theano, and the last is Keras.
Very interesting names, Rohit. Now, what do you envision about the computer vision in terms of which industries or domains do you think it will impact in future?
Computer vision becomes crucial when we have to remote control. Let me explain this by one example. India launched Chandrayaan, and since it has to go through unknown conditions for which it was not programmed, hence it needed human intervention so that we can take required decisions. So it has a very bright future. As you know, SpaceX is launching space tourism, and also they are planning to colonize Mars as well, and you know it has a very bright future, for which they would be needing computer vision, cameras that can see what is happening at the Mars, so that if there is some help needed, they can send it right away. Apart from space, the domestic robots or the RPA robots that are being employed need to have a vision so that they can get a better idea of the surrounding conditions, or you can say the environment. And hence, we need to improve and invest in developing more reliable and efficient computer vision algorithms, which in turn will give rise to new jobs and opportunities. Nowadays, mobile manufacturers are giving AI cameras that can detect you, adjust according to the light condition, and there are other features that are coming with the cameras. Every now and then, a new camera is launching with some bright future prospects, which requires efficient computer vision algorithms. So I would say all industries and domains that have little bit probability of using computer vision will get impacted. Computer vision was valued at 2.37 billion and is expected to rise to 25.32 billion by 2023.
Wow, that is 10 times more in 3 years growth model. That's really amazing. But Rohit, like any technology that is in evolution mode, what are the major concerns or problems that you see in this area of computer vision and its associated peripherals?
The biggest problem that I can see or I can understand or I have personally feel is that not only in computer vision but in the field of AI is the lack of new and efficient algorithms. Big companies are investing more in using the current algorithm to come up with new products. Very few are concentrating on coming up with new algorithms. This means no one is thinking of revolutionizing the field with new concepts and new ideas. I would say if you want to make a career in computer vision, think of new ideas, because the day is near when all the possibilities of using the current algorithm will end, and then it will be very late to start thinking of something new.
Rohit, thank you so much for coming back again to our show and sharing your thoughts with the Guiding Voice audience. It was indeed a great discussion on the concept of computer vision and the dependency with artificial intelligence and machine learning.
Thank you, Rohit. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for calling me again on the podcast. Really excited to be listening to your more podcasts on different topics that will envision the audience.
Dear listeners, to know more about our speaker and the content, including the articles that Rohit mentioned, visit or follow us on social media or feel free to email us and we will be happy to share further details with you.
All right. So it brings us to the trivia segment of today's episode. And today's trivia is about VCR, which stands for Video Cassette Recorder. During my childhood, we used to rent VCR, which was also used to play the video cassettes. We used to watch movies by renting out the VCRs on hourly basis, and it used to be very expensive affair. Whereas now, we are able to play movies, TV shows, and many more web series at the click of a button using OTT platforms. So let's talk a little bit about VCR. When the first VCR was made in 1956, it was very huge in size, almost like size of a piano. But later, it has shrunk to a size of a desktop CPU cabinet. Of course, similar to any other technology, initially devices start big and then start shrinking. So is the case with VCR. Interesting, isn't it? Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Be safe.